Welcome to Film Scene 21. I know why you are here. You are here because something isn't right. You feel that something is missing. You're here because you have questions. Well, I have the answers and can show you the path, but you have to decide to follow it. You take the blue pill. You continue with your life, and you watch whatever you choose to watch. You take the red pill, and I show you exactly what you need to be shown. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more. It all depends on how much you need to know. What is the Matrix?
Welcome to the real world.
Hello, yes, welcome to Film Scene 21. My name's Simon and I'm here to bring you real 21st century reviews of film and great television, and the best ways I believe those can be experienced through home media. This episode we're going to be taking a look at what has been called one of the greatest science fiction films of all time. It is The Matrix, starring Keanu Reeves. Today I'll tell you what you can expect from The Matrix without revealing any major spoilers, reveal some insights behind production, and give you some great pieces of trivia, things you might not know about The Matrix. I'll also unbox and take a look at this brilliant 4K UHD Blu-ray release, tell you what I think about The Matrix, and finally reveal my score out of 10. Before we get into it, I'd really appreciate if you give a quick click on that thumbs up icon, give it a like, and also leave any comments or questions about The Matrix down below. I mean, these things really do help that crazy YouTube algorithm so that more people get to see this. Also, down in the video description are links to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, along with jump points to different parts of this video, and Amazon affiliate links so you can grab some of the releases mentioned today. And if you do buy anything through that, I do get a tiny commission which really helps me out at no extra cost to you. And please do subscribe, it really gives me a buzz when you do that, and when the notify bell appears, click that so you never miss an upload going forward. So, on to The Matrix. With The Matrix 4 scheduled for release in December 2021, what better time than to revisit the original that first took us down that rabbit hole? Do I agree with the belief that it's a smartly crafted exploration of significant philosophical and spiritual themes? Or that it's just another slice of overlong, overhyped, high concept hokum? Well, let's find out. So here's what happened. In 1994, the Wachowskis took a script for the movie Assassins to Warner Brothers. The president there liked it so much, he not only bought the rights to Assassins, but two further pictures, Bound and The Matrix. Now, the action thriller Assassins would go on to star Sylvester Stallone, Julianne Moore and Antonio Banderas, whereas Bound would be a more low-key neo-noir crime thriller starring Gina Gershon and Jennifer Tilly, but more importantly, it would be the Wachowskis' first opportunity to direct. It was fairly well received by critics and won several festival awards. Then came The Matrix. Now, the Wachowskis went from directing Bound with a budget of $6 million to directing The Matrix with a budget of $63 million. It was released in 1999, just as the world was preparing itself for Y2K and the potential onslaught for the Millennium Bug. Now, this endemic fear was the perfect backdrop for this type of story to be embraced and go stratospheric, which it did, because around the world it grossed $465 million, so all good in the hood. After an exhilarating intro with some time-bending sequences and an exciting chase across the rooftops, we finally discover there is a search on for somebody going by the name of Neo. In steps Keanu Reeves as Thomas Anderson, by day working for Metacortex as a computer programmer, although at night he's a computer hacker, going by the alias Neo. Often feeling at odds with the world though, Neo often searches for the truth, and he believes this mysterious Morpheus could provide some answers. Only he has no idea how to contact him. After Neo receives some clues masquerading as apparent coincidences, including some ethereal advice to follow the white rabbit, he accepts an offer to go to a nightclub where he meets the intriguing Trinity, played by Carrie-Anne Moss. Now Trinity knows Neo has questions, and she offers some tantalising morsels of information along with a veiled invitation. The next day he wakes up, he goes to work, and it's here he receives a special delivery. Morpheus has made contact. Lawrence Fishburne's Morpheus informs Neo that the life he has been living is a lie, and he offers to show him the truth. We are drawn into a world of mystery, revelations and choices that Neo has to make to decide how much he wants to know the truth. And we are with him at every turn. Mind-boggling beyond reason, gripping beyond belief, we join Neo on a journey to discover what is the Matrix. This film grabs you from the first frame. Literally, even the distributor company logos have an unusual look about them, and are accompanied by some eerie and ominous sounds and music. Initially, some characters appear without introduction, but I was drawn to find out more about them. And the way that characters like Trinity, Morpheus and even Agent Smith speak has real gravitas and is enthralling. I don't know how they did it, but all the performances are off the chart. Everyone is completely believable and committed to being Neo, Trinity, Morpheus et al. Keanu Reeves is Neo, a part that almost went to Will Smith, but he turned it down so that he could do Wild Wild West. Say no more. Nick Cage, Johnny Depp and Val Kilmer were all considered too until the studio finally landed Keanu. Now you may have previously seen him in things such as Speed, Point Break, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure or the John Wick films. Now while his acting capabilities have been brought into question for them being limited, here he is perfectly cast in the role as someone confused and who is willing to learn and soak up information like a sponge. Another role Val Kilmer was considered for was Morpheus, but I couldn't imagine anyone other than Lawrence Fishburne playing that role now. Previously known for films such as Boys in the Hood, Event Horizon and Apocalypse Now, he brings a real magnetism and he holds your attention as he reveals the truth to Neo and by proxy us. Being both intellectual and physical, he casts a truly striking mental figure. Carrie-Anne Moss as Trinity, previously known for Memento and Marvel's Jessica Jones series, is Neo's first contact. Trinity is beguiling and determined and can certainly hold her own when push comes to shove. Hugo Weaving, with over 90 credits to his name, including V for Vendetta and the Lord of the Rings films, brings us Agent Smith, a measured and insidious presence, never ceasing in his objective to uncover the plotting of the insurgents and bring them to justice. Incidentally, the main players had to undergo months of training prior to filming just to prepare themselves for the physical requirements of their roles. This was done under the guidance of famed Hong Kong stunt choreographer Wu Ping Yuen, who worked with each of the principals in creating their own unique fighting styles. Although the producer did say in the making of, you are asking actors to do martial arts, which is no mean feat, and injuries played a part. Carrie-Anne Moss damaged an ankle, but carried on for fear of being recast. Hugo Weaving discovered a polyp in his leg, and the resulting surgery meant moving a lot of his more physical scenes towards the end of the shoot. Along with some of those for Keanu Reeves, who before preparations even began was starting to experience paralysis in his legs from spinal tissue from a neck injury. The resulting surgery he needed meant that he had to train in a neck brace for the first couple of months. Other cast members: Joe Pantoliano as Cypher, who's been in Bound, Midnight Run, The Goonies, and as the unforgettable Guido the Killer Pimp in Risky Business. Marcus Chong, Julian Alhanga, Matt Duran, Belinda McClory, Anthony Ray Parker, Gloria Foster, then Paul Goddard as H.M. Brown, and Robert Taylor as Agent Jones. When I saw Robert Taylor's name on the credits, I thought, I know that name, and suddenly realised he stars in the Western crime drama Longmire as Sheriff Walt Longmire. If you've not heard of Longmire, it's intense, it's intelligent. It ran for 6 seasons. I loved it, and so you should check it out. But I never made that connection until watching The Matrix this time around. Crazy. Anyway, back to the film. All of the actors nailed their performances, and it all really adds to the experience. Overall, it feels profound, yet never feels drawn out. And the momentum of the story and the importance of what Neo is going through really hits at the core of your being. And whilst you're desperate for a resolution, you also never want it to end. The Matrix was filmed in Nashville and San Francisco, USA, along with many locations around Sydney, Australia. And the look of the film is incredible. The lighting, the colour palette, the textures, it all feels familiar. Yeah, like no place you've ever been before. And the variety of camera shots and angles always keeps it interesting and intriguing. The ingenuity on display is exciting and inspiring. The Matrix is also known for popularising the visual effect known as bullet time. This allows for a shot to progress in slow motion, while at the same time the camera appears to move through the scene at normal speed. It was first used very briefly in the film Blade, but here it is used brilliantly to illustrate a character's exertion of control over time and space. There are lots of other different types of elements like bullet time in The Matrix. Oftentimes, just when you think you know what you're looking at, it will morph into something else, super engaging and very exciting. Then there's the soundtrack. The use of score, contemporary music, sound effects and dialogue all blended perfectly and staying true to the narrative and the action, and it all really enhances the experience in combination with those eye-popping visuals. So here are some bits of trivia about The Matrix, things you may not know. The cast were all asked to read Simulacra and Simulation, which is a 1981 philosophical treatise by the sociologist Jean Baudrillard. In it, the author examines the relationship between reality, symbols and society, in particular the significations and symbolism of culture and media involved in creating an understanding of shared existence. Also, the film received 4 Academy Awards, winning in each of the categories it was nominated in. So that was film editing, sound effects editing and visual effects, which will come as no surprise to anyone who's seen the film. Movie influences for The Matrix can be seen in 1995's Japanese cyberpunk film Ghost in the Shell, along with Metropolis, the silent science fiction granddaddy from 1927, and also 1988's manga film Akira. In literature, lots of influence from the work of Philip K. Dick, especially A Scanner Darkly, which deals with dual personas and questions of reality, as does William Gibson's Neuromancer. So both worth checking out if you're interested in the subject of reality and all things cyberpunk. Also, and I'm not saying this is an influence, but even Tom Baker era Doctor Who battles with the Master in a virtual world called The Matrix. So I got to see this great film using this release from Warner Brothers, this 3-disc 4K UHD Blu-ray release, and this is the UK release. You can see that from the ratings logo. It's pretty much identical to all territories though, just barring a few language differences. Comes with a nice matte finish slipcover with a few spot glossy bits so it shines and all that. This is new artwork exclusive to this release, and it's pretty cool. Makes references to the 3 main principals, actors and the bullet time that I mentioned earlier. And the inner sleeve is also exclusive to this release. Regular case in here, but that makes reference to the Following the White Rabbit, which we talked about as well. The film is presented here in an aspect ratio of 2.40 to 1, super close to the original 2.39. You will get black bars top and bottom of your widescreen display, which is exactly as the directors intended. Film runs for about 136 minutes, about 2.25 hours. In this release, you will find a freshly remastered Blu-ray and also the 4K HDR transfer on a UHD, both on a separate disc, and there is also a third Blu-ray disc full of bonus features. The HDR master was actually overseen by cinematographer Bill Pope, working from the original 35mm camera negatives. Now, there was an endeavour to have the real world represented by cool blue tones and the data world with a more greener tinge to it. But with the huge range of luminance and colour gamut, stay with me, HDR provides that true film gamma replication and adds a greater dynamic range for accurate highlights and more deep detailed blacks. And this allows even other colours to become more evident in those mostly blue or green environments. Bill Pope has taken advantage of this and has created a version with colour timing as originally intended, and a high resolution digital master that is even more accurate than the original theatrical release. It is the best presentation of this film I have seen. I mean, we're seeing every skin blemish here, people. And being sourced from that original 35mm negative, there will be film grain evident in a number of places. Very comforting to some, jarring to others. Anyway, there are such elements such as the deepness of the blacks that really helps to highlight the focus of many scenes. There are times in the real world where the colour palette is quite muted, and it's here that the HDR helps those elements with colour to really pop. And whenever we're in the Matrix, those sharp lines and bright highlights, they really shine. Scenes like the nightclub now really exhibit a lot more detail. It's fantastic. There are a lot of digital effects in this film. In my opinion, they blend seamlessly with the live action and the results are marvellous. The sound is a huge feature of this film, and this release came with a number of different language options for the sound mix. However, the star of the show has got to be the English Dolby Atmos mix, which is fantastic. I felt truly immersed in the world created by the Wachowskis and their team. It's both nuanced and bombastic, and those elements of sound effects, music, dialogue were really easy to identify, never sounding muddled or muted. I'm just so glad they went the extra mile for the sound mix on this release. So getting to the good stuff, this release, as I mentioned before, has 3 discs. You have 2 Blu-rays in the back there, one with nothing but special features, another with a feature film, and the feature film's also on this black UHD disc as well. There's also a digital download code included, although that was due to expire in June 2019. But often they do continue on beyond the stated expiry date, so just something to be aware of anyway, if you do get hold of this release. On both of the feature film discs, there are as many as 4 feature commentaries for you to enjoy and learn more about the film. The first one is with philosophers Dr. Cornel West and Ken Wilder. Second one is with some film critics, Todd McCarthy, John Powers and David Thompson. The third is cast and crew, so that's Carrie-Anne Moss, Zack Steinberg and John Gator. And the fourth is with composer Don Davis, and that comes across over the isolated score track of the movie. There is also a 9-page written introduction by the Wachowskis, and also as a bonus on the Blu-ray disc only is a video in-picture commentary as well. Now, on disc 3 is where the lion's share of the bonus features are housed, and chief among those is The Matrix Revisited, which is a just over 2-hour long documentary featuring interviews with the cast and crew, mostly filmed on the set of the sequels, and lots of behind the scenes info all about the film, so you really get a good overview of how the film was put together and what it took to bring this thing to the screen. A good companion piece to this is Behind the Matrix, runs nearly 45 minutes, and that is very similar but a lot shorter, and I think it was filmed at the same time that they made the original film, but you do get to learn a few more new pieces of information and people's inspirations for why they got on board with the project and that sort of thing. In addition to that, you have Follow the White Rabbit, which is about 23 minutes, and that has 9 sections where they go into 9 different action sequences and how they put those together. You see them in rehearsals and trying to film it and all that sort of thing, so that's fascinating as well. Then we have Take the Red Pill, which is 2 sections running about 17 minutes, just over that. Delves more into the bullet time, visual effects, and also the concept of the film in general. Also, you have a music video for Rocky's Dead, the Marilyn Manson track, a couple of trailers, lots of TV spots, and then you have something called the Audio Revisited, which is a 41 audio track jukebox. So you have all these tracks you can choose from or listen to them all in one go. The whole thing is about 195 minutes in total, so it's a lot of music they've put on there for you to enjoy, bits, things that are used in the film or sort of inspired by the film as well. So it's a really good package, a very good value indeed, and one to be recommended. So with regards to different versions, well, the fact that it comes from Warner Home Video means the releases are pretty much identical across all territories, although there is a steelbook package available from Zavvi in the UK and Best Buy in the US. Also, you can grab the film as part of the 9-disc 3-film trilogy box set. So why did I go for this version? Well, on this occasion I didn't think the steelbook was particularly special, not in my opinion, and I'm not really a fan of the sequels, so I was quite happy just to grab hold of this standard slipcover release, which I think is pretty nice anyway. Some call The Matrix an action movie. Well, while they're not wrong, it's so much more than that. It's an action thriller that really does pose philosophical questions and encourages the viewer to think. Yes, this is not a movie to sit back and switch off your brain, because if you do, A, you really won't get as much out of it as you could, and B, you probably won't have a clue what's going on. Now, this is where I like to give this film a score out of 10. The Matrix was thrilling and philosophical. That is not a combination that comes along too often. The creativity is off the charts and the performances, design and execution are amazing. There's only one way this is going for me. The Matrix is a 10 out of 10. Yes, I really enjoyed every minute and I was gutted when it finished and couldn't wait to see more. So I rushed off to see the sequel and only found disappointment down that road. I may give it a rewatch one day, but I think the general consensus is that the first Matrix is a true original and not to be missed. So definitely check it out if you haven't already, and let me know what you think. So there it is. If you appreciated this review, please give it a like and leave a comment below. Your feedback really helps out, as I mentioned earlier. And if you've got any questions, leave those too and I will get back to you. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram and use those affiliate links to grab any of the releases and get yourself fully immersed in the world of The Matrix. If you want to see any other reviews, you can click one of these or my channel link, and there'll be lots more coming your way, more 4K, more Criterion, more classics, and I promise to get to the remaining 4 films of the John Hughes collection too. So hit that subscribe button and click the notify bell, that way you'll never miss an upload. Thanks again for joining me on Film Scene 21. I really appreciate you coming along. As usual, my name's Simon. Bye bye for now. Take care. I'll see you next time, unless you've already entered The Matrix.